Welcome to the deep dive. Let's think about that moment, walking into a new situation, maybe a new job, new class, or just meeting people and you have to introduce yourself. How often do we kind of stumble trying to make that sound, well, natural, especially in English? It's really not just the words you pick, is it? It's the whole vibe, your tone, the rhythm, how you kick things off for a real connection.
That's so true. And that's exactly what this deep dive is about, crafting natural English introductions. Yeah. We've really gone through some excellent material out there. The goal isn't just a list of phrases. It's more about understanding the, let's say, mechanics behind sounding genuinely natural and confident. So forget rote memorization. We're aiming for understanding the real flow of English conversation.
Absolutely. So our mission today really is to give you practical tools. Tools to shift your introductions from feeling maybe a bit awkward or just okay to truly authentic. We're going to unpack some key insights like why certain phrases just sound better in specific situations. We'll also look into those little linguistic traps, the ones that make even a correct sentence feel a bit off. And importantly, how to inject your personality so you actually make a memorable first impression.
Exactly. And we'll explore strategies for different contexts too. Like a job interview is obviously very different from just chatting with new friends. And crucially, how do you keep that conversation going after the intro? It's about moving past hello to actually, connecting.
Right. And we'll finish up with some more advanced tips. Things like nonverbal cues, super important, and why real targeted practice is maybe the secret ingredient. So for you, listening in, think of this deep dive as your fast track. It's about getting those aha moments for making genuine connections every time you introduce yourself in English. Okay, so let's dig in. First up, there's this kind of basic, almost universal structure for introductions. It seems simple, but getting this sequence right makes a huge difference. You start with a greeting, then your name, maybe where you're from or where you live now.
Then what you do, work or study. And then adding something a little personal or fun. That's a key bit. And the final, really crucial part, asking a question to keep the ball rolling.
Exactly, like passing the conversational baton.
Yeah. Consider this example. Hey, I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you. Straightforward. I'm originally from Brazil, but I live in Manchester now. That gives context. I work as a graphic designer, and I love hiking on the weekends. Adds personality. How about you? What do you do? And there it is, the invitation.
That structure works so well. It gives enough info to be interesting, but not too much. And that question at the end just opens the door right up. It sets the stage for a real back and forth.
Right. Now, about sounding natural. It isn't one size fits all, is it? It really changes with the situation. So let's talk about how common phrases adapt. The formality level is key here. For instance, in a formal work setting, you'd probably go with something direct.
Like?
Hello, my name's Alex. I work in finance. Clean, professional, gets the job done.
Okay, makes sense. But if you said that at, say, a friend's party?
It would feel a bit stiff, right?
Yeah.
In a casual chat, you'd maybe say, hey, I'm Alex. I'm a finance guy, basically.
Okay.
The wording, even that basically just relaxes it immediately. It signals a different social context.
That's a great comparison. And online meetings, maybe joining a new team.
Often something like, hi, everyone, I'm Alex. I've just joined the team. Simple, clear, acknowledges the group setting.
Right. And if you're traveling,
you might say, I'm from Italy, just visiting London for a week. Very context specific. Explains your presence naturally.
And for anyone doing language exchanges, which I know many listeners are.
A very common and natural opener is just, I'm learning English and I'm here to practice. Sets expectations perfectly.
So it's not just about the words, it's the attitude behind them, showing you get the social cues.
Exactly. Which brings us neatly to common mistakes. Or maybe pitfalls is a better word. Because even if your grammar is technically okay, some direct translations or habits from your first language can make introductions sound a bit unnatural.
Ah, yes. This is where things get subtle. It's beyond just correct grammar. It's about sounding idiomatic.
Precisely. Take myself as Maria. We hear this sometimes.
Right, because in some languages you might use a reflexive pronoun like that.
Yeah, but in English, introducing yourself is more direct. It's about being Maria, not possessing the noun Maria, if that makes sense.
So the simple, natural way is...
I'm Maria, or my name is Maria. It feels more immediate.
Okay, good one. What's another common one?
Age. I am 25 years old.
Ah, the direct translation trap again, like you possess the years.
Exactly. But in English, age is a state of being. You are 25.
So it should just be.
I'm 25. Simple, concise, natural, a small change. but it makes a difference.
Definitely. How about talking about how long you've lived somewhere? Like, I lived since 2 years in Spain.
Yeah, that's a classic tense issue. For duration that started in the past and continues now, we need the present perfect.
So instead of simple present,
You'd say, I've lived in Spain for 2 years. Or, I've been living in Spain for 2 years. That have lived or have been living signals the ongoing duration perfectly.
got it. Okay, another one I've heard is dropping the article like I am student.
Yes. That's about articles with singular count nouns for roles or professions. English generally needs a or an.
So it must be.
I'm a student. It sounds incomplete without it to a native speaker, usually.
Okay. And one more. How about expressing likes? Like, I like very much music.
Adverb placement. While grammatically okay, it sounds a bit formal or slightly unnatural in casual speech. For enthusiasm, we usually put the adverb before the verb.
So it sounds more natural as,
I really like music. Or, I like music a lot, really. Before the verb works great for that natural emphasis.
those are super helpful fixes, little tweaks, big impact. Okay, so let's put this into practice. How do these principles change for specific situations? A job interview, for instance. That introduction is critical.
Absolutely critical. It's your first pitch. You need to be concise, relevant, and professional. So maybe something like, good morning, I'm Liam. Start clear. I recently graduated in marketing, and my recent focus has been on helping small businesses with their digital strategy, specifically improving online presence. C. Connects past experience to potential value. I'm really interested in this position and learning how my skills could support your team's objectives. Forward-looking.
That's really good. It's not just facts, it's framed strategically. Okay, shift gears. Making new friends, totally different goal, right? More about connection.
Totally different vibe. Here, you want to be more open, personal, invite sharing. Maybe, hi, I'm Nora. I'm originally from Cairo. Just moved here for work, actually. Sets the scene. I'm really into discovering new indie bands and exploring cool coffee shops. Shares interests. What kind of music are you into? Or any coffee spot recommendations near here? Offers easy ways for them to respond and share.
I like that. It gives them easy hooks to grab onto. And first day of class or school, community building is key there.
Right. You want to be approachable, show you're there to learn and connect. Something like, hey everyone, I'm Jamal, I'm from Canada. Basic info. I'm really excited to be in this class to work on my English, especially speaking more fluently. States purpose, clearly.
Yeah.
Looking forward to learning with all of you, and hey, if anyone wants to practice conversations sometime, let me know. Open and friendly.
Perfect. Each example really tailors the approach to the specific goal of the situation.
Okay, now for something that can really elevate your introduction, but often gets missed. It's the power of adding something genuinely interesting or personal. Not TMI, just a hook.
The thing that makes people actually remember you.
Exactly. It's your unique identifier. It moves you from a person I just met to, oh yeah, the person who reek.
So instead of just facts, you give a little glimpse of personality.
Precisely. Think about saying, I'm really into photography versus, I'm really into photography, especially street photography. I'm always hunting for interesting patterns in the city.
Okay, yeah, the second one gives so much more. It invites questions.
Or instead of, I like languages, maybe, I'm a bit of a language nerd, currently wrestling with Icelandic grammar, which is an adventure.
Yeah, that's memorable. Or even something simple about your downtime.
Sure. On weekends, you'll probably find me trying out a new baking recipe. Or maybe just binge watching a sci-fi series on Netflix. These aren't just random details. They add color, they make you relatable, and they open doors for conversation.
Which leads perfectly to the next crucial skill, keeping the conversation going after your intro. You can't just drop your lines and expect the other person to pick it up, right?
No, that's where it often falls flat. You need to actively pass the conversational ball back. Show you're actually interested in them.
So the simple stuff works best.
Often, yes. Just a simple, how about you, or what about you, is incredibly effective. It's polite, it's open.
Or you could be a bit more specific, depending on what you shared.
Definitely. If you mentioned your job, what kind of work do you do? If you mentioned where you're from and where are you based? The key is asking an open-ended question, something that needs more than a yes or no. It turns your introduction into the start of a real dialogue.
Makes sense. So to help people structure this, maybe a quick phrase bank, useful expressions.
Good idea. For origins, I'm originally from, or I grew up in. For current location duration, I've been living in city for X years months, or I moved here. For work, I work as a job title, or I work in industry field. For studies, I'm currently studying subject, or I'm doing a course in. And for free time. In my free time, I like to. Or I really enjoy.
Those are great building blocks. Okay, now for a challenge. How can listeners actively upgrade their English introductions, moving beyond just the basic statements?
Yes. This is about adding richness and detail, making it more vivid. So instead of just, I'm a teacher, think about expanding it.
How would you upgrade that?
Maybe. I teach high school English, actually. Been doing it for about 5 years now. It's incredibly rewarding seeing students find their voice, especially through writing.
Wow, yeah, that paints a much clearer picture. It tells a mini story.
Exactly. Or take, I like music. Very basic.
How could that be upgraded?
I'm really into indie rock. I love catching smaller bands at live shows, those intimate venues. There's just an energy you can't beat.
Okay, I see. You're adding specifics, passion, detail. That makes you way more memorable.
It's where your personality comes through. You're not just giving data, you're sharing a part of yourself.
So pulling this all together, what are the final tips for sounding truly natural? It's not just the words, is it?
Not at all. Nonverbal cues are huge if you're in person. A genuine smile, making comfortable eye contact, these signal openness and warmth immediately.
And how you actually speak.
Crucial. Speak clearly, not too rushed, not too slow. Find a natural rhythm, and please use contractions.
Right. I am sounds much more formal or emphatic than the everyday I'm.
Absolutely. They instantly make speech flow better and sound more native. Yeah. Also, keep it relatively brief and simple. Don't try to cram your life story in. And avoid memorizing a script word for word. It needs to feel flexible, conversational.
And the big one? Practice.
The absolute necessity. Practice with real people, friends, colleagues, language partners. That's the gold standard.
But that's tricky.
Record yourself. Use your phone. Introduce yourself. Listen back. You'll hear things you don't notice otherwise. Note the pauses, the filler words, the flow. Then refine it.
That repetition, focusing on these details, that's what builds the confidence and makes it feel truly natural over time.
So let's recap quickly. We've covered the essentials for a natural English intro. Having that simple structure down, avoiding common linguistic slip-ups, injecting your personality.
And really importantly, keeping the conversation alive by asking questions. Plus, that idea of upgrading your basic statements to something richer.
And what's really fascinating when you dig into this is that a great introduction isn't fundamentally just about language skills. It's about authenticity.
Yeah, it's about making a genuine connection, being remembered not just for the facts you shared, but for how you made the other person feel, the conversation you started.
It's moving from just language proficiency to social fluency, you could say, building real rapport.
Right. So to leave you with something to think about, if the real goal here is making that genuine connection, sounding like you, what's one detail about yourself? Something maybe surprising, unique, truly authentic.
Yeah, perhaps something you don't usually lead with, or a passion you keep kind of quiet. What's one thing you could weave into your next introduction confidently and naturally that would really make you stand out?
What could spark a totally unexpected conversation and make you truly memorable? What feels authentically you that you could share? For a second, and just think about how often you actually introduce yourself. It happens all the time, right? First day at work, maybe an online meeting, language exchange, even just, traveling. That first hello is everywhere. But here's the thing I've noticed, and maybe you have too. Most of us, well, we know the grammar for introductions, we learned what to say, but does it always sound natural? Or sometimes does it feel a bit, I don't know, like reading from a script? Why do you think that happens?
Yeah, that's the core of it, isn't it? It's usually not about knowing the words. It's more about that gap between, let's say, textbook English and, well, real, everyday English. And the good news is that's exactly what this deep dive is for. We want to give you a shortcut, really, the tools to sound natural, confident, authentic, right from the start. All right, so that's our mission today. We're going to break down the actual structure step by step for a natural introduction. We'll give you the specific phrases, the little tips, the mindset, really, to turn just saying hello into starting a real conversation. Okay, let's unpack this then. Let's build this natural introduction together, kind of like building a house, piece by piece, starting right at the foundation, the greeting. We all know the basics, like hi or hey for casual, and maybe hello or good morning when it's a bit more formal.
But here's the first tip, and it's crucial. It's not just what you say, but matching the energy. Saying a super casual hey when everyone else is being quite formal or vice versa, it just feels off. Authenticity starts right there, aligning your greeting with the vibe of the situation. It's subtle, but powerful.
I see what you mean. It's about the whole package, not just the word itself.
Okay.
So you've nailed the greeting, set the tone. What's next? simply saying your name. Phrases like, I'm Carlos, or my name's Amina, or maybe you can call me Ben. Pretty straightforward stuff.
Yeah, but here's a really quick native speaker tip. Use contractions. Say I'm instead of I am, names instead of name is. It sounds small, maybe, but it makes a huge difference in flow. I am isn't wrong, obviously, but it just sounds more conversational, more relaxed.
That's a great point. Those little shortcuts signal fluency, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so name's done. Then it usually flows into where you live. Like, I'm from Turkey, but I've been living in Germany for 3 years, or maybe originally from Kenya, now based in London. Simple facts.
And here's where you can start adding a bit more flavor. Instead of just, I'm from Japan, maybe add a small detail. Something like, I grew up in a small town near Osaka, but I moved to Tokyo for university. See? It just gives the other person a little something extra, a hook, makes it more memorable and easier to ask a follow-up question.
That's a really smart way to add personality without going overboard.
Okay. From where you're from, the next logical step is often what you do. Your job, what you're studying, maybe you're taking a gap year. So I work as a software developer, or I'm currently studying engineering, or, I just finished school, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And again, think about being a bit more specific if you can. Instead of just, I am a student, which is fine, but a bit flat. Try something like, I'm studying economics at university. I'm in my second year. It paints a clearer picture, right? Makes it easier for someone to connect.
Right. Specificity adds depth. Okay, we've got the basics covered. Greeting, name, location, what you do. But here's where I think it gets really interesting. This is the part that makes you memorable, the personal touch. Sharing a little something specific about your interests or hobbies. Maybe, I love learning languages. Right now I'm focusing on English and Korean. That's relatable for language learners. Or on weekends, I'm usually playing guitar or watching true crime documentaries. Yes, or even something simple like, I'm kind of obsessed with football, Arsenal fan for life, or I'm a huge coffee nerd. The more specific and personal it is, the more real it feels. It gives people something concrete to latch onto. It's about showing a glimpse of your personality, you know? People connect with that. It builds a bridge.
Absolutely. And that leads us perfectly to the final crucial piece of the structure. You've shared about yourself. Now what? You got to finish with a question, turn it back to them. Simple things like, how about you? And what do you do? Where are you from?
This is so, so important. An introduction isn't a performance, it's an invitation. By asking a question, you're showing genuine interest, you're opening the door for them to share. It turns a monologue into a dialogue. That's the whole point, really.
Okay, so that's the framework. Greeting, name, place, work study, personal touch, and crucially, the question. Now let's see how this actually plays out. Can we look at some full examples for different situations?
Yeah, let's do that. Context is everything. So imagine a professional or work setting. Rami might say, hello, I'm Rami. I just joined the marketing team, actually. Before this, I worked in digital media for about 5 years, mainly with small businesses. Really looking forward to the projects here. What about you? How long have you been with the company?
Nice. Clear, professional, gives context, and ends with that question. Okay, what about something more casual, like a language exchange?
Okay, maybe Nico. Hey, I'm Nico, originally from Finland, but I've been living here in Berlin for a little while now. My main goal is just improving my communication skills, maybe move abroad someday. Outside of studying, I really love photography and hiking. How about you? What's your main English goal?
I like that. Relaxed, shares a goal, adds hobbies. Good stuff. First day in a class.
Right, maybe Emily. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily. I'm from Canada. I'm really hoping to improve my spoken English with this course. Back home, I work as a nurse, but I'm actually taking a few months off just to travel and study a bit. Anyway, looking forward to learning with all of you.
Approachable, gives her background, positive finish. Great. One more maybe while traveling.
Sure. Mateo in London. Hey, I'm Mateo. Just visiting London for the week, actually. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina. First time in the UK, and honestly, I'm loving it so far. I'm always trying to find good local food. Got any recommendations?
Perfect. Uses the immediate situation, shows enthusiasm, asks for something specific and easy to answer. Love it. Those examples really bring it to life.
Okay, so we know what to do. What about things to maybe avoid? Common mistakes learners sometimes make.
Ah, yes, the little things that can sound a bit unnatural. Good idea to cover those. One you hear sometimes is, myself is John. The natural way is just, I'm John, or my name is John. Much more direct.
Right, keep it simple. What else?
Age. Instead of I have 30 years, we always say I'm 30. Just I am plus the number.
Got it. I'm 30.
And talk about how long you've lived somewhere, not I live in France since 2 years. You need the present perfect continuous there. I've been living in France for 2 years. Or I've lived here for 2 years. Okay, that for since difference trips people up. Good one.
And articles. Sometimes people forget the A. Not I am student, but I'm a student.
Yes. The little A.
Yeah.
Important.
Finally, expressing likes. I like very much. The music sounds a bit, well, translated. Much more natural is I really like music, or even more casual, I'm really into music.
Okay, those are fantastic fixes. So listen out for those, everyone, and try the natural versions. Now, if you really want to, level up and sound even more natural, are there some sort of advanced phrases we can use?
Definitely. There are ways to phrase things that just sound very native, very smooth. For work, instead of the full, I work in the marketing department, you can just say, I'm in marketing, or I work in education. It's shorter, more fluid.
Okay, I'm in. Followed by the field. Nice.
Maybe to show passion for something, instead of just, I like, use phrases like, I'm really into sci-fi movies, or get specific and fun, I'm a huge coffee nerd, shows personality.
Really into or huge nerd. I like those. Adds character.
For hobbies, you can weave them in naturally, like I spend most of my weekends hiking or reading.
Okay, integrating it into your routine.
And a great way to transition after you've talked about yourself. Anyway, enough about me. What's your story? It's polite, friendly, and shifts the focus smoothly.
What's your story?
Yeah.
That's a lovely open-ended one. These definitely add a layer of sophistication. All right, so you've delivered this fantastic natural introduction. You asked a question, but what happens after that? How do you keep it going? That's just as vital, isn't it?
It really is. The intro is the spark, but you need fuel to keep the fire going. The key is follow-up questions that show you were listening and are genuinely interested.
So what are some good examples?
Well, building on what they might have shared, you could ask things like, where are you from originally? If they mention living somewhere new, or what brings you here, especially good for events or classes.
Okay, makes sense.
Maybe, oh, cool. Do you speak any other languages? Or relating to their hobbies. What do you usually do for fun on the weekends?
Showing interest in their life outside the immediate context.
Exactly. Or even connect it back to yourself slightly, like, have you ever visited my country? Or have you ever visited place you mentioned?
These are great because they invite more than just a one-word answer. They open up the conversation.
Precisely. It's about showing curiosity and keeping that back and forth dynamic alive.
So we've covered a lot. Structure, examples, mistakes, advanced bits, follow-ups. What's the key takeaway for listeners wanting to put this into action? Practice, I assume.
Practice is key, but how you practice matters. One really effective technique is shadowing.
Shadowing. Can you explain that quickly?
Sure. It's basically listening to a native speaker, maybe from a recording, like our examples, and immediately trying to imitate them. Not just the words, but the rhythm, the intonation, the pauses, everything.
So you're mimicking the sound and feel, not just repeating words.
Exactly. You're internalizing the music of the language. When you shadow something like, hey, I'm Lena, what about you? Or, hi, I'm Tom, what do you do? Hey, you're training your mouth and your ear to work together naturally. It builds that authentic sound.
Right. It helps you get the flow without consciously thinking about every single rule.
Precisely. It bypasses some of the overthinking.
Okay, so shadowing is great practice. And to help people get started, should we maybe give them a template they can adapt?
Good idea. A basic structure they can personalize? How about this? Hi, I'm your name. I'm from place, but now I live in current city place. I work as a job, I study subject. In my free time, I enjoy hobby interest. How about you?
Simple, covers all the bases we talked about. Greeting, name, place, role, personal touch, question. Perfect.
Yeah, and remember Maya's example using this. Hi, I'm Maya. I'm from Egypt, but I live in Madrid. I'm currently studying architecture, and I really enjoy sketching and exploring cities. What about you? See how she made it her own? The template is just the starting point. The important thing is, how can you fill it in with your details, your personality?
Make it sound like you, not just a formula. Great advice. Okay, before we wrap up, any final quick tips for just sounding confident and natural overall when introducing yourself?
Yeah, a few quick ones. First, use those contractions. It's your. They really make a difference.
Contractions. Got it.
Second, try not to overthink the grammar in the moment. Focus on clear communication. Connection is often more important than perfect accuracy.
Good reminder. Don't let perfectionism paralyze you.
Third, smile. Relax your body language. It genuinely makes you seem more approachable and confident even before you speak.
Body language matters. Check.
Fourth, always ask questions. People usually enjoy talking about themselves, and it takes the pressure off you.
Keep the conversation balanced.
Right.
And finally, just practice. Use it in real situations, even low-stakes ones.
Yeah.
Or record yourself on your phone and listen back. You'll notice things you can tweak.
Practice, practice, practice. Excellent final points.
And remember, confidence grows from understanding and using these techniques, not just from memorizing lines. It's about feeling comfortable in the flow. Well, this has been incredibly helpful. We've really dug deep into making that crucial first impression count. You really do have the tools now to move beyond just stating facts and start building genuine connections from the moment you say hello. It's powerful stuff.
It really is. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Think about how these ideas, matching energy, adding specifics, showing curiosity, asking good questions, like how could they apply not just to introductions, but to all your conversations in English? How can you bring more of that natural connecting flow into everyday interactions?
That's a great question to ponder, something to really think about. So take what you've learned today, build your own introduction using that template, personalize it, and then go try it out. We're excited for you to see the difference it makes.